Hello, and welcome to this week's Help Desk with Joe, and as always, Joe.
Here we are.
Here we are once again. So it's Tuesday. This is our show time, and as usual, you're here bringing us neat stuff from the technological world and either saving people money, helping them protect themselves in the digital world, or making life just better in general.
Trying to make it a little easier.
Yeah, whether it be saving money, making money, or whatever the case may be. So this week's topic, you got some neat stuff for us, and this helps in two different ways. So let's talk a little bit about what you're talking about today.
Okay.
And we'll get started.
Today's topic is mobile transactions, as far as paying with credit cards.
Swipers.
Right. So today you're either going to make money or you're going to spend money, depending on which end of the phone you're standing.
I'm pretty sure I'm on the spending end.
Yeah.
I want to be on the other end. I just can't get there yet.
Well, we'll see what we can do. All right. Now this device here.
Okay. Yeah, and I see you, as usual, we brought a toy with you.
Yeah, brought a little gadget with us today.
Yep, I like it.
And this one's from PayPal, and it's called the PayPal Here.
Yep.
And this is PayPal's version of the credit card swiper, and it's so easy. Here's a headphone jack on my phone. Plug it in, load the app, and you're ready to go.
Okay, now, for people that may not know, talk a little bit about what PayPal is.
Okay.
And how this relates.
Okay, PayPal is an online transaction company that works with your eBay. If you do a lot of eBaying,
right.
We use it for our online store. So when you order something, we have PayPal take care of the transactions because it's easy and it's secure.
Right, so it's a secure business that helps do your transactions for you, so making sure that, A, if you buy something, your payment is going, and then,
right.
and then if you're the seller, you get your money.
Right.
It's a very secure, I'll say site,
right.
but it's a secure transaction facility.
Right.
And then it allows you to buy stuff digitally.
Right.
And then, as you said earlier, when someone buys something from you, it automatically puts it right into your bank
right.
deal for your business,
right.
and so forth. And you can also keep a temporary account with PayPal, so that you can get money and then send it back out when you buy something from someone else.
Right.
Okay, so a lot of different options there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that's throwing a lot at people if they're not familiar with it, but the idea behind it is it's a new way to do business.
Right.
And I don't even know about new. How long has this stuff been out? Probably a year or so now?
The swiper's been around about a year, maybe 2 years.
Yep. So, and they're becoming more popular.
Yeah, they're really starting to gain some traction and really starting to make a headway into the business.
Talk about the advantages of this while we're talking. And the main point, I guess, of talking about today, what's the huge advantage to this?
Oh, the huge advantage alone is now that a customer calls me out on a call and I show up their site and take care of the business, if they want to pay right now, I don't have to worry about trying to get a bill to them and deal with all that. Right. I can say, you got a credit card? Sure. Swipe it and give it back to them, and it's done.
Now, when that transaction happens, what actually happens? Like, they get a receipt, you automatically see that the payment's made. Talk a little bit about that.
Whenever it's ready, you open up the PayPal. In this case, since we're using PayPal, you download the PayPal app, which is free.
Right.
And I sign in with my PayPal credentials. And there's a lot of other companies that use this. There's one called Square, and QuickBooks has one out. Right. But you sign in, and you take the credit card, you make the transaction. You can either swipe the card physically, or if you don't have this with you, no big deal. You take a picture of the credit card or punch the numbers in manually. And then it comes to the point where you ask the customer to sign off their name, and they just use their finger to sign their name. You hit next. It asks for the email address of the customer, so you can hit finish. Right. Their money is transferred over to your PayPal account. They get a receipt emailed to them instantly, and you're ready to go.
So that is so great because you get your money instantly. They get a receipt verifying that this is a real transaction. Mm-hmm. That way everybody knows that they didn't get cheated in some way. It's not a mystery.
Right.
The amounts show up. And you know what I really like about the PayPal aspect is you don't have to have this. It's handy to swipe.
Right.
But you don't have to. As you said, taking a picture, that's fantastic.
Right.
It recognizes a credit card, completes the data for you, you approve it and go on, or you can punch the numbers in. So, all the stuff you see at the big stores with the swiping and stuff, it's all right here and or in your phone.
Right.
Which is incredible. It probably the biggest aspects of the mobility.
Right.
Now, anywhere you go to do business, you can do this. So this seems, what other types of businesses might utilize something like this?
Went to New York City a couple weekends ago for vacation, and the Apple Store uses a device similar to this. They have a case that they plug on their iPhones. We went in there to purchase something and went to the cash register, and they didn't have, the usual
traditional,
the cash register, nothing. There was just some guy staring with his phone on his counter. I thought maybe he had to pay somewhere else in the store. I didn't know, so I told him what we was wanting. So he just pulls out his phone and starts punching. He said, "Okay, give me 2 minutes." That guy walks out the back with it, sits on the counter. He says, "This it?" I said, "Sure is." He says, "Okay," and so he starts punching it up. And he said, how you going to pay? And I said, credit card. So I gave him his credit card. He takes his phone, takes a picture of it, says, okay, sign here. I signed off on it, hit next. Email, and I heard my phone ding. So it sent automatically to my email. And he said, you want paper receipt? I said, sure. And he hit print, and it printed.
Wow. So everything done through his mobile device.
Right.
No more cash registers needed unless an actual cash transaction.
But even then, I mean, he could still run it everything from the phone. There was no physical cash register on the counter.
Nice. Okay, so I know I used one with a cab driver. Used my credit card to pay. He pulls it out his phone. I verified it on his phone, hit OK. Bam, done transaction. So for somebody with a small business, this would be a pretty neat way. I wouldn't even say neat. I would say a very helpful item to have.
Oh, yeah.
And I know we buy candles at the Black Walnut Festival off the gentleman out that make them in Walton, and that's how we paid for ours last year, and it was pretty neat to see. I said, I need to use a credit card, pulled it out, yep. So what does it take if you're a small business owner or someone that just does a lot of transactions where you might have use of a credit card, what do they need to have to utilize one of these?
Pick your company you're going to go with.
Okay.
And be aware that no matter what company you go with, the reason they make their money is through the transaction. They charge a transaction fee, which is a very small fee. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not a deal breaker.
Well, and every time you use a credit card, somebody pays a fee.
Right.
Like usually the business will pay 3-5% of every transaction for that.
Right. Even if you go through your local bank and get one of the physical big, what I call the big clunky credit card machines, there's still a transaction fee. So you're not going to bypass that. But what's nice with these, a lot of the companies are practically giving these away because they make their money on the transaction fees and they want you to use their company. I checked PayPal today and PayPal says, yeah, you can go to the store and get it, but if you get to the store, let us know and we'll give you, the paperwork to fill out a rebate. So I mean, they're pretty much giving these devices away.
Making sure that you have use of it and it doesn't cost you anything except on the transaction.
Right.
And it's pretty small, 1.9%, something along those lines.
When we checked, usually on average it's between 1% and 3%.
Okay, so that's not bad. That's about normal. So not bad at all. Okay. What other aspects, like when we're talking about this, and I know you said there's several companies. Are there different types of this and how they work, or are they all pretty much the same?
They're all pretty much the same. I mean, a lot of these plug into your headphone jack. And I've seen a couple go through the docking port on the bottom of the phone. So, I mean, but most of them are going through the headphone jack because it's a universal port.
Right.
On Android, they have their own charging thing. Apple keeps changing their charging connectors, but everybody still has a headphone jack.
Right, so that's a universal jack that they can all use.
Right.
If someone was to walk up to you off the street, like my wife has her soap business, if she came to you and said, I want to get involved in this, what do I need to know, Joe? Help me out. What would you say? What do they need to know when they come to you?
Well, have an idea of what they're wanting to do. Are you wanting to use credit cards or not? And be aware you have to have a bank account somewhere.
Right. You
so
have
make
to have
sure
some sort of.
Right, because whenever this goes to, no matter what company you go to, the money's got to go somewhere. So be prepared. Right. Do you want it to go into a banking account? If not, see if they will do a check. They'll mail you a check or whatever. Right. See whatever payments you want it to physically get to you. Make sure that you're prepared to do whatever steps needed to complete
so
that.
You may have to go start your business bank account and put the routing numbers in so that it can pay you.
Right.
And if not, be ready to use your personal one and or see if they have a check that they'll cut you.
Right. Or just create a second one just for these transactions.
Right. Okay. So they have to be in the digital world at that point in some manner.
Right.
Okay. Is there any preference that you looked at and said some of these are better for this option, some are better for another option? Is there anything there that people need to look at?
As far as these devices go, they're all pretty much the same.
Right.
I mean, it's just whenever you sign up, are you going to get a better deal as far as the transaction fees at the time? Because one of them might be running a special with a lower transaction rate. That's really your only difference because they're all secure. Right. They're all going through the same headphone jacks. I mean, best deal at that point would be looking for your best transaction rate.
Okay, so check on that interest rate.
Right.
They're going to charge you per transaction. Okay. This opens up a whole new world of possibilities for people.
Oh, yeah.
Especially small business people.
Oh, yeah.
It's such a cheap and easy way to get into it. Anything on your usual list of like, don't like, buy, don't buy? Well, Joe's measuring stick, how's this tally up?
Well, the only drawback I have on any of these devices is, see, I'll put mine in my case here. I'll show you the major drawback I have.
I noticed you pulled your case off before you got this out, and that's, I'm assuming, for ease of use.
Yeah, because if I leave it in my case, this doesn't make a secure connection.
It doesn't go all the way down?
Yeah, it doesn't go all the way down, so the app doesn't detect it. So when I plug this in, the PayPal app detects it. and when it's not there, it doesn't recognize it. It'll
Then
still
you're
work.
taking the pictures
Right.
and putting it in manually. So
Or get an extension cable and
something along those lines.
right,
Okay.
which works, but it's just something else you have to carry in your pocket. So,
Right. So-
just be aware of that.
Be prepared for that. Your case may interfere with it plugging all the way in and
Right.
have to adapt to it. Which, I mean, that's okay. It's still a small price to pay to have the use of this little jewel.
Oh
So,
yeah.
You're using it so far. Anything that you didn't like, in your experience, or anything that caused you issues?
The transactions that I've worked with, it's great, and customers are loving it
Yep.
because a lot of customers now don't hardly carry any cash with them, so
Yep.
they'd much rather swipe a debit card, and be done with it.
Yep.
And so it's a win-win on both sides.
Awesome. And if you're someone that's going and saying they're buying something off you, what would you say to them to make them feel secure that this is a viable and valid source of payment? What would you tell them to say, yes, this is safe to use?
Well, personally myself, I was kind of leery with it, but I did a lot of research, and PayPal is a company that's reputable on having secure transactions on both sides. They always protect the buyer to make sure the buyer gets what they're promised, and protects the seller as well to make sure that the buyers are trying to scam them.
Right.
And I was kind of leery at first, but once I sit down and actually did the research, and I thought, well, would I want to use this? And when I looked at it and thought, well, yeah, this would be something I feel secure doing. So if I don't feel secure, then I don't want to use it myself.
Right.
I'm not going to push it on somebody.
Right. And I think what you mentioned earlier with the instantaneous part, they'll
yeah.
get an email receipt
Right.
At some point, and if they don't have their phone with them, or if they don't have a smartphone that has, they can go home and see immediately.
Right.
Yes, the purchase was valid, and here's the details.
Right.
Okay. What do you need to have to use one of these? I'm assuming you need a smartphone.
Yes, a smartphone, because you have to
So you will
download
have
the
to have
app.
a data plan.
Right.
Okay, you mentioned that earlier, and then also a good connection.
Right, you have to have some kind of connection, whether you're running off the cell phone tower or wireless. You have to have some kind of connection to the internet for the transaction to actually go through and process.
Okay. So anything else that we left out?
I don't believe so.
Awesome. So, a very good way to either A, make people feel better about using these, and or for small businesses to really go to town and improve their ability to take payment.
Right.
And that's important to a lot of small businesses, and doing it in a very cheap and easy way.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. Any last thoughts or impressions?
Well, when you say you buy or don't buy, definite buy. I mean, when the companies are pretty much giving them away, and it's as secure as it is, I say go for it.
And then even if shoot, if I can get it together here, my thought, when I look at it from what you were talking about earlier, one of the things I like is, even if you're paying that 3% transaction fee, for a small business owner like with my wife's soap business, if someone's buying enough stuff that they need to pay with a credit card, it's better to make that sale and have this ability than them to say, shoot, I only got $10 in cash, so I'm only going to buy $10 worth. Where this lets people buy hundreds of dollars worth.
Or they
of
don't have a credit card, so it's either lose 3% or lose an entire sale.
Exactly. So I think you're right on the money with the availability and usage of this. All right. Well, Joe, as usual, you're out there saving people money, making their lives better, helping out businesses, and that's what we like. That's what we like about the show. So we'll be back next week, and I know if anybody wants to get a hold of you, I know how to do it, but tell everybody out there again.
You can give us a call at our offices at 304-927-3588 or visit our website at amdigitaltechnologies.com.
And you've been working hard behind the scenes. You and Cena both. Cena's back here producing. You guys have been working hard. The show's about to get an upgrade. You've done so much. Has it been a year? We've been
It's almost a year.
almost a year now. So in a year, you've added a lot of stuff. And this will probably be a show in itself at some point. But you've went from doing webcast to videocast to podcasts, and now we're getting ready to get a major facelift here in the studio and get our sound better and everything else. So we're looking forward to some good stuff in the future. I'm excited. We got in some of the stuff. I didn't even have to swipe it to get this stuff in. We're working on credit now.
No, we're still looking for that Chromecast, though.
There you go. So, excuse me. So we'll be back next week, and you'll start to see changes in our show. We're going on a year. So fantastic stuff.
Hopefully good changes, but we'll...
Yep. And if you're like me, look on Facebook, get those specials. I know you had some desktop specials going on this week. I get them on my Facebook page. Says, here's the deal of the day, and it's always just saving people money.
Oh, yeah.
And different products is what I like, the variety of stuff you guys throw out there each and every day. So good stuff.
Anything to get $1 off you, Dave, I'm willing to sell.
I'm with you. So, keep that in mind, folks, when you go and buy A&M Digital Technologies, local folks supporting our local, I'll say at this point, our children's programs. You do all our shows with the kids here in the Patch program, saving our community money out there, helping out the community. So buy local, stay local, and anything technology needed, call Joe and Cena up here at A&M Digital Technology. So this show, as always, hosted and sponsored by A&M Digital Technologies, a Roane County business out there helping our community. Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome doodad to bring for today's show.
Gizmo.
We've been calling it all kinds of stuff already, so neat to see what we can throw out there.
Well, the technical name is the PayPal here. So
PayPal here. So that's our focus today, the PayPal here. And then we'll be back next Tuesday with some more stuff. So stay tuned and check in next Tuesday. We'll bring you another show. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.